Rogue. Alright, my character's gonna check off. DM. Why? Rogue. 'Cause stakeout is boring, and I've gotta pass the time somehow. DM. Okay. Roll perception. DC 15. Rogue. 13, with my bonuses. DM. You get so into doing your thing that you fail to notice the orc guard creeping up behind you until he taps you on the shoulder. Rogue. I stand up, turn around, and draw my short sword. DM. You try to do that, but since you've loosened your belt to get things done, your pants wind up around your ankles as soon as you stand up. You'll have to bend down to grab your short sword. Rogue. Never mind that. I grab the dagger strapped to my shoulder and lunge at him. DM. As you lunge forward, your feet get tangled in your pants, causing you to fall face first onto the ground. The orc laughs. Rogue. I stand up and attack. DM. Attack of opportunity from the orc, with advantage because you're prone. Hits. He bashes you in the back of your head with the butt end of his spear, doing damage and knocking you prone again. Now the orc's regular attack. Ooh! Critical hit. Fortunately, he wanted to capture you alive, so we'll waive the death saves and say you were just knocked out. Rogue. Fuck! DM. Sir, please remember that this is a PG-13 campaign. Rogue sat out half the session, until the rest of the party rescued him. When they did, they found him in a prison cell wearing his shirt, but no pants. The other PCs never did get the story of how Rogue was captured. The other players, however, have never let him forget it. Yeah. This is definitely a fake story. You can tell. Especially because he said he tried to whip out his short sword, but let's be honest, it was definitely a dagger.
Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.
While the character in this story played the game one-handed, the player in this next story has a hand in basically everything. You'll see what I mean in a second. Especially since the OP in this story refers to him as the main character. Recently started a new campaign where my monk is trained in a very ancient, lost martial art that they learned in a far, distant monastery. So it's very surprising when main character also knows this martial art. The DM assured me that he was just a novice, whereas the monk was a master. But still, let me have agency over my backstory. Unfortunately, the party has a main character who enjoys having his finger in every pie. After an encounter where my cool martial art style was finally on display, and my character asked the party to keep quiet about it, as some bad guys want to kill the remaining practitioners. The main character goes, "Oh, cool. I can do that too." And according to the DM, he's not wrong. On the surface, this can be seen as a way to build party cohesion, but I feel now as if my backstory is pretty invalid. My guy being on the run, having a cool secret to keep. Nope. Apparently it's all common and open in the next country over, and this other party member can do what I can do. Somehow, one character is knowledgeable, and a part of everyone else's backstory. Barbarian goes on an animist spirit quest? Oh cool! So did main character. Got into an exclusive college? Rad. He attended a few semesters too. Are you an older, well-traveled wizard? Somehow he is even older and knows more. It's so obnoxious, and I wish the DM would put some boundaries around this, as no other party member feels unique or particularly gifted at any aspect. Update. Had a Discord call with DM, main character, and 2 of the remaining 4 of us. As some of you suspected, the DM read all of our backstories, got excited, and shared with main character before session 0. Main character loved our backstories so much that he wanted to incorporate them into his. So he scrapped his entire character idea and wrote an extremely long backstory about, yes, how his character is some form of chosen one who wants to learn from every party member, to combine into one singular mega character. This didn't go over very well with the players in attendance, as our backstories are personal. The wizard wants to learn this language to cast some mystical spell that can restore a loved one he lost, so to have some new guy you've never met before butt in on that is pretty strange. According to DM, he wrote extensively about how his character went to each of our backstories and interacted with them, which is pretty lame. He was a student before my guy was even at the monastery, apparently even though bits in my backstory made that very unlikely. He discovered the legendary texts before Wizard did, but never felt the need to go searching for more until Wizard brought it up. He spoke to the same animist deity that Barbarian did, even though that was somehow ruled out in Barbarian's background. The players in attendance voiced our grievances, and the DM was shocked that we didn't like their idea, which is weird to me because I wrote my character for me, not to contribute to some other person's character. But yeah, somehow they didn't foresee this being an issue. The DM and main character kept reiterating that they thought we would be flattered he wanted to learn your playstyles and secrets, which is weird. They got really stuck on that. They thought it'd instantly bond us and make us super best friends immediately. But as I said, pretty much every backstory is personal, like the Barbarian's Vision Quest was explicitly about and for him. So it's a weird thing to have to share with someone else. At the end of the call, they wanted to compromise, and have it so main character couldn't do what we could all individually do, but that they wanted his character to then become a student and learn from everyone's character. Which I don't know how I feel about. I kind of don't want to teach him my thing. Why would the Barbarian and Wizard want to share their personal tragedy with some new guy? DM and main character thought this was a good compromise, while the others in the call got quiet and gave non-committal answers. The call ended awkwardly, and we'll see what happens. Next session is Wednesday night. Gonna chat with the other players before then. You know how there's more than one class in D&D? Yeah, that's because no one member of the party is made to be the best. You are not the chosen one. And there are about 1 to 6, maybe more, other people at the table in this game with you. And all of their time is equally as valuable as your own. And they want to be in the game too. And on the topic of main characters, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of players who take inspiration from main characters in anime. And while that's all well and good, here's an example of when it definitely wasn't for this group of players. So, me and a bunch of my friends were playing a game which we had created based on a system of another person whom we all left the game of. I wrote all about him years ago here, but I might rewrite it, because there's crazy things I forgot to say in there. Plus, updates. The rules were kind of loose in some parts, but we had fun. Basically, every character had what we called a one thing that made them special. The one thing could be a spell, an item, a power, or a weird race mix. Anything, really. For example, my wizard's one thing was that he had proficiency in medium armors, and started with one, since he was in the army from a young age. And my friend's fighter had a pretty overpowered sword that was hidden in a pretty hard-to-beat dungeon, which he had to go get to claim the throne of his homeland. So basically, the stronger it was, the later you had it in the story, or it got strong with you. Now, enough background. Enter that guy, who we'll call Freddy. Freddy was a weeb, but to be fair, we all were. He, however, took advantage of the DM by making his one thing about animes the DM hadn't watched. He made it sound pretty weak when he explained it to the DM, but as soon as he showed off his character to us, I immediately knew this guy was a problem player. He was playing a half Uchiha, half Saiyan that comes from another world and instead of mana, had ki. He then proceeded to go in a random forest to, quote, get traumatized and unlock his Sharingan. Goddamn weebs. I was not there that game, because I would have stopped him right then and there, since no one else at the table had seen Naruto, and only I knew what the flock he was talking about. He would then show up for sessions with new powers that none of us saw him unlock, and made clones for like 1 mana each. The clone spell we had in the game costed 15 mana per clone, and somehow had amazing stats. The DM got so fed up that he asked me to correct him on every anime ability he should not have. So every session Freddy was there was the same song and dance. No, you can't use X ability since you don't have the evolved Sharingan, cause you need to kill your best friend to get it, and your character has no friends. Then it happened. Freddy showed up one day with a new character sheet. We were allowed to play up to 3 characters at once, a rule I always disagreed with, but one that we were starting to slowly peel away from, so yay. And presented his character as a big-tittied catgirl ranger, who instantly fell in love with his edgy anime protagonist. He repeated that with different stereotypes until he literally had a harem of NPCs, since all they did was stay in our fort and wait for said anime MC to come back. We tried talking to him about it, but none of us really wanted to kick him since we almost all worked with him on a daily basis. Freddy was just an annoying player, but he wasn't all that bad. Just creepy. But then, we understood that he cheated not only his stats, but also his dice rolls, and we just got pissed at him. Not too long after, however, a certain sickness ran through the world and forced us to shut down the game for a while. Once we started up the game again, but online, we didn't invite Freddy. While it was difficult to understand half of the story, since I have to translate it from weeb, make sure that you and your DM are on the same page when it comes to your character abilities. Also, if you make a second character for the sole purpose of dating your first character, and to make a harem everyone else at the table is forced to have to experience, you should probably stop getting your character ideas from Hentai Haven. Thank you for tuning in to today's stories. And if you made it this far, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, maybe leave a comment. And if you can't think of a comment, leave the comment one thing to let me know that you made it to the end. Or just rant about anime in the comment section. Maybe you'll find a friend down there, you filthy nerd. Or if you're feeling generous, check out the Crow's Perch Patreon and join our fellow Corvid courtiers among the Burb aristocracy, such as our counts of Quills, like Shar K, Kurito Kazuto, Critical Kunic, Evix, King Drazil, Christian Pip, Cosmosis, Kooky Spooks, Rikus, Vincent, Haley Thompson, Zero Fang, and Netscape Navigator. All that anime? Whoa, what's that? Is that like that Cory in the House show? I don't understand kids these days, but I do know the Barons of Beaks, like Jayvon Meighan, Jesse Schoedel, Kuntos Weasel, MoetisMaou, Chunky Salsa, Tech Blog, Kurestor, Cardespawn, AModestPastry, Jester King, Gintahl, Lord Rende, Gibber-Woods, Wormy, Dan of the Drake, McYeetly, and Anja. But alas, there is only one type of patron who is willing to donate above and beyond. The Dukes of Feathers. Like Quinn, TheForgottenDruid, Jarett Suhr, Blues Otters, Jared Zemlin, General Constantine Chase, Happy Rex, Doc Salty 96, Matthew MulQueeny, and Acroth. And with all of that out of the way, I will see you next time as the crow flies.